Hello there. If you're over 60, just imagine this: you lie down in bed on a quiet evening believing you've completed a full day. But while your body rests, your brain is just beginning its real shift. It starts sorting memories, clearing out toxic waste, and reweaving the delicate connections that keep your mind sharp. And if you haven't prepared properly before sleep, that entire process can be disrupted and you may not survive. The quiet erosion of your memory. So before you get too cozy, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I'm doing here. And if you're tuning in from somewhere special, drop a comment below with your location and local time. I always love seeing where you're listening from. Now go ahead and settle in. Maybe turn on a fan for a soft background hum. Let's begin our journey together. 1. The nighttime secret. Your brain craves. You may not know this, but according to the World Health Organization, more than 30% of people over the age of 60 experience mild memory loss. Not full-blown Alzheimer's, just that subtle mental haze. You forget someone's name, can't recall where you left your glasses, walk into a room and forget why. These little lapses start like a wisp of fog, but if left unchecked, they can turn into a heavy mist that covers your entire daily life. And here's something no one tells you: it's not just aging. It's because no one ever taught you that your brain needs a gentle whisper every night, a message that says, you are safe. You are cared for. And now, it's time to recover. To illustrate this, meet Jerome, 68, living in Colorado. A retired engineer, sharp as a razor until he started noticing little gaps. Nothing huge, just names of neighbors, dates of family get-togethers, the recipe for his late wife's soup. He figured it was just age catching up. But when he met with a neurologist, he was asked one simple question: "What do you do before bed?" He replied, "Turn off the TV. Get in bed. That's it." And that was the problem. No one ever told Jerome that the aging brain can't just power down like a machine. It needs a bridge, a gentle transition from tension to restoration. One Japanese neuroscientist once compared the brain to a theater. When the performance ends, the lights need to dim slowly. The audience needs soft music to guide them out. The crew behind the scenes needs time to clean and reset. But if you just cut the power, the crew panics. They don't do their job. They walk off. A study published in Nature Neuroscience found that the brain doesn't begin memory reconstruction right away. It takes about 30 minutes of transition. You can't leap straight from stress to restoration. That's why people who just shut off the lights and jump into bed often wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. disoriented or feel exhausted in the morning, even after a full night's sleep. And now for a shocking truth: just one simple 10-minute ritual before bed, like writing down a few things you're grateful for, sipping warm water, or practicing deep breathing, has been shown to improve memory and increase sleep quality by up to 15% in seniors, according to a 2022 WHO meta-study. You see, it's not about strict rules or complex routines. It's a whisper to your brain that everything is okay. And when you learn to send that whisper through soft actions, soothing sensations, and familiar rhythm, you're not just preserving memory, you're reawakening a part of yourself. Take Marcia, 73, a widow living alone in Oregon. She feared dementia was creeping in. She woke up every night at 3 a.m. heart racing, unsure why. But then she tried something simple. She brewed a cup of herbal tea, lit a candle, and read 5 pages from a favorite book before bed. And just like that, it stopped. It was like I got myself back, she said. I wasn't aging, I had just stopped caring for my brain. 2. Why skipping night food is starving your brain. You've probably heard the advice, don't eat after 6 p.m. It's everywhere. From diet books to TV doctors, the message is clear: if you want to stay healthy, avoid food at night. But if you're over 60, this one-size-fits-all advice could be working against you. In fact, it might be quietly stealing your mental clarity. Here's what most people don't know. Your brain doesn't power down when you go to sleep. It switches gears. It enters what neuroscientists call the glymphatic state, a phase of nighttime housekeeping where toxins are flushed, memories are organized, and neural pathways are refreshed. But just like any hard-working team, the brain needs fuel to get the job done. And when you go to bed hungry, you're not being disciplined, you're leaving your brain in the dark with no tools to repair itself. Let's take Mr. Allen, 74, from Michigan, a retired high school principal sharp as a tack for decades. But when he started following a strict intermittent fasting plan, nothing past 5:30 p.m., he noticed subtle shifts. Forgetting names, misplacing his glasses, feeling mentally foggy despite getting a full night's sleep. His doctor ruled out dementia. His blood work looked great. But what was missing fuel for the brain at night? When Allen introduced a simple nighttime habit, half a cup of warm tofu broth and 5 minutes of breathing, his mornings transformed. It was like a fog lifted, he told his daughter. I could remember where I put things again. I could focus. The culprit had never been aging, it was energy depletion in disguise. Let's get into the science for a moment. After 60, your body processes glucose differently. Your brain becomes more sensitive to blood sugar dips and hormonal shifts. If you go to bed on an empty stomach, your body enters a catabolic state, breaking down tissues, including brain tissue, to find energy. This raises cortisol and disrupts deep sleep cycles, especially the critical stage called slow-wave sleep, where memory consolidation occurs. Strangely enough, the concept of nighttime nourishment is deeply embedded in traditional medicine across cultures. Ayurveda encourages a small, warm, easily digestible meal before bed to ground the nervous system. In Japanese tradition, it's common for elders to sip a bowl of miso soup or eat a spoon of fermented plum paste. Not heavy, just enough to send the brain a message: you're safe now, you can rest. In contrast, modern Western advice often treats food as the enemy and fasting as the hero. But WHO research from 2021 suggests that caloric restriction without age-specific modifications can accelerate muscle loss, disrupt cognitive performance, and reduce nighttime parasympathetic recovery in people over 60. In other words, what works at 30 doesn't always work at 70. Now here's a quirky fact you probably didn't expect: the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, has its own insulin receptors. That means it doesn't just rely on your body's overall glucose, it needs a local signal that fuel is available. Without that signal, it can't properly archive memories, leading to what researchers call fragmented recall. That's when you remember a face, but not the name, or a feeling, but not the detail. So let's reframe the idea of a bedtime snack. This isn't about indulgence, it's not about cheating on your health plan, it's about offering your brain a steady hand at the end of the day, a way to say, you're not alone, you're supported. Let me give you one more story. Elena, 70, used to wake up exhausted. She wasn't overeating or staying up late, but her dreams were chaotic and she often felt like she hadn't truly rested. A sleep therapist suggested a nightly spoonful of soft-boiled egg with warm greens, followed by 2 minutes of mindful breathing. Within 2 weeks, her sleep patterns improved, her dreams became calmer, and her mental fog lifted. Why? Because the food provided gentle amino acids like tryptophan, which helped produce serotonin and later melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep. The warmth of the meal soothed her vagus nerve, which controls heart rate and digestion. And the slow breathing helped her downshift from a reactive state to a restorative one. So if you've been skipping food at night because you thought it was the right thing to do, think again. Your brain isn't a machine, it's a living garden. It doesn't just need time, it needs care, rhythm, and nourishment. And in this case, a warm spoon of tofu might just be smarter than a glass of water and a prayer. 3. The ritual that restores you. By now, you understand that your brain isn't just passively asleep at night, it's doing the heavy lifting of healing and remembering. But knowing that isn't enough. The real question is, how do you support it? What does a nighttime routine that actually works for people over 60 look like? Let's build one together, not based on trends, but grounded in wisdom, science, and rhythm. First, start with movement. Not a workout, not a stretch class. Just 5 minutes of gentle, intentional motion. Begin by rolling your shoulders, rotating your neck, letting your arms hang heavy. Then a soft forward fold, no pressure, just gravity doing the work. End seated with slow breathing. This movement increases circulation to the brain and gently signals your nervous system. The day is over. Why does it matter? Because as we age, blood flow to the brain decreases. But even light movement, especially in the evening, helps improve oxygen delivery to memory-critical areas like the hippocampus and frontal lobe. Studies published by the World Health Organization suggest that seniors who engage in evening body awareness routines sleep more deeply and show improved cognitive test performance in the morning. Now it's time for nourishment. Not dinner, not dessert. Nourishment. In Japan, they call it yakan shoku, the nighttime nourishment. Picture a small bowl of warm miso soup with silky tofu. It's comforting, full of minerals, and easy to digest. Or maybe a soft-boiled egg with steamed spinach. The point isn't calories, it's chemistry. You're giving your brain the amino acids it needs to produce calming neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA. Let's take Ms. Lorraine, 75, from Arizona. She always thought eating late would give her indigestion. But when her sleep became fragmented and she began forgetting small things, her acupuncturist suggested a Japanese-inspired ritual. Now every night she dims the lights, warms a small portion of white fish with ginger, sips a calming tea, and stretches for a few minutes. After just 2 weeks, she reported deeper sleep and felt more herself again, clear, steady emotionally even. This might sound too gentle to be effective, but modern research has confirmed what ancient cultures have known for centuries: the nervous system responds more to rhythm than force, and the brain craves predictability. It doesn't need variety at night, it needs signals. Which brings us to breath. 5 minutes. That's all. Sit down. Place one hand on your belly. Breathe in for 4 seconds, out for 6. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system responsible for calm digestion and memory storage. It reduces cortisol, regulates heart rate variability, and prepares your prefrontal cortex to transition into a sleep-supportive mode. Here's something fascinating: this breathing practice directly affects a tiny brain structure called the locus coeruleus. It's the center of arousal and stress. When you lengthen your exhale, this part of the brain slows down. It literally dims the alert setting so you can enter rest and repair mode. Now imagine combining all of this movement, warm nourishment, and breath like notes in a song that tell your mind, it's safe now. Let go. Don't forget your environment. The light should be low and warm. If you can, turn off all screens 30 minutes before bed. Blue light suppresses melatonin, the hormone you need to fall asleep and stay asleep. Instead, try lighting a candle or opening a window for a few minutes. Let the cool air kiss your face. These small environmental cues add up. And here's a lovely, strange tradition from Okinawa, Japan. Many elders read a short piece of poetry before bed, not just for entertainment, but to shift the mind from problem solving to wonder. This simple act helps disengage the prefrontal cortex and opens the mind to symbolic thought, which enhances dream quality and emotional resilience. Let's be honest, none of this is complicated. But that's the point. The brain doesn't need drama, it needs devotion. So here's your ritual simplified. Gentle movement, 5 minutes to unlock the body. Warm nourishment, a small, easily digestible bowl or plate. Slow breath, exhale longer than you inhale. Soft light, replace screens with candlelight or quiet music. Stillness, allow your brain to fall into rhythm. When you practice this consistently, your brain will begin to anticipate the shift. Like a pianist who knows when the music is about to change, your nervous system will prepare for healing, not survival. This is what real self-care looks like after 60. Not another supplement, not another rule, but a relationship with your own biology, one that says, I hear you, I honor you, and I'm not going to let you walk into the night alone. 4. Strange but true. What gratitude does to your brain. Imagine this: it's the end of a long day. You've eaten well, stretched, gently, even breathed with intention. But just before you switch off the light, there's one last act. A quiet whisper to your brain. It takes less than 5 minutes and costs nothing. Yet its impact. It reaches deep into your memory, mood, and even your immune system. What is it? Gratitude. Yes, the simple practice of acknowledging 3 good things before sleep has been shown to rewire the brain, enhance emotional regulation, and improve sleep quality, especially in older adults. This isn't fluffy self-help, it's neuroscience. Let's unpack what happens when you engage in a nightly gratitude ritual. When you reflect on something positive, no matter how small, the brain releases dopamine and serotonin, 2 chemicals that enhance mood and support memory formation. But here's where it gets interesting. The act of recalling good experiences also strengthens the neural pathways tied to long-term memory retention. That's right. Thinking about good things before bed doesn't just make you feel better, it literally improves your ability to remember. Take Mr. Charles, 69, a retired postmaster from Vermont. After his wife passed, his sleep deteriorated. He felt lonely, foggy, and disconnected. One evening, after watching a documentary on brain health, he began writing down 3 small things he was grateful for each night. At first, it was simple. The cat sat next to me. My soup was hot. My daughter called. 3 weeks in, something shifted. He reported sleeping more deeply. He remembered old friends' names he hadn't thought of in years. More importantly, his mornings felt less hollow. I think my brain was starving for something real, he said. Not food, but meaning. Gratitude does exactly that. It creates emotional safety. And from a neurochemical perspective, safety is everything. When your brain perceives threat, whether it's worry about the future or regret from the past, it activates the amygdala, your emotional alarm system. This spike in cortisol blocks memory consolidation and disrupts REM sleep. But when you practice gratitude, the brain shifts from the amygdala to the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for perspective, decision-making, and calm. It's like turning off the emergency sirens and letting the cleanup crew do its work. You may think this sounds too easy, but let's go deeper. A study from the University of California, Davis followed adults aged 55 to 80 who kept a nightly gratitude journal. After just 21 days, participants reported not only better sleep, but reduced symptoms of arthritis, lower blood pressure, and increased optimism. Even more compelling follow-up brain scans showed reduced activity in threat-related regions and increased connectivity in areas tied to memory recall. Still not convinced? Here's something curious. Japanese Zen monasteries have practiced a gratitude pause for centuries. Every evening before lights out, monks sit silently, each whispering thanks for 3 invisible things. Not possessions, but experiences. A breeze through the temple garden, the sound of a bell, the warmth of shared tea. This practice, they say, empties the mind of fear so that the dreams may teach. This poetic view aligns beautifully with science. Gratitude lowers sympathetic arousal, your fight-or-flight system, and boosts parasympathetic tone, the part of your nervous system that allows the body to digest, repair, and dream. So what can you do? Start small. Keep a notebook by your bed. Each night, write down 3 things that went well. They don't have to be profound. Some days it might just be, I drank enough water. The sky was clear. No one interrupted me. Then close your eyes. Whisper them again slowly. Let each one land. Your breath will deepen, your muscles will soften, and your brain will begin its shift from chaos to coherence. Meet Helen, 72, a former nurse from Seattle. For years, she struggled with nighttime anxiety. Even with all the right habits, no caffeine, no screens, her mind raced at bedtime. Her therapist suggested a gratitude practice, but Helen rolled her eyes. I'm not the journaling type, she said. But one night, she tried it out of desperation. I just wrote down 1 sentence, she told us. Thank you for my garden. The next night, 2 sentences. The night after that, a paragraph. A month later, Helen said she no longer dreaded bedtime. It feels like I end my day in prayer, even if I don't believe in prayer. That's the secret. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about reminding your brain that something still is. And when the brain finds that thread of goodness, it begins to repair what's been frayed. So don't underestimate this strange but mighty habit. Before you sleep tonight, offer your mind something nourishing, not just food, but meaning. because in the silence of that moment, your memory listens, and it remembers what matters. 5. Reclaiming the gentle power of sleep. By now, you know the truth. Sleep isn't just about closing your eyes, it's about how you arrive at the edge of night. You've seen how movement, nourishment, breath, and gratitude create the foundation. But now we come to the final part of your nighttime ritual, environmental rhythm, and how you can turn your space into a sanctuary that speaks directly to your brain's deepest instincts. Let's begin with light. The human brain evolved under firelight, not fluorescent bulbs. When the sun sets, your pineal gland begins to produce melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. But if your room is filled with blue light from phones, televisions, or harsh lamps, you disrupt this process. Melatonin production slows down, cortisol lingers, and your brain thinks it's still daytime. So here's your first step: switch to warm light. Candles, Himalayan salt lamps, or amber-toned bulbs. Try dimming the lights an hour before bed. Even better, sit by a single warm light source while sipping your miso broth or golden milk. This alone tells your brain it's time. Now for sound. Most of us live in a world filled with alerts, notifications, and background noise. But your brain, especially after 60, becomes more reactive to sound. A sudden noise can spike adrenaline, wake you from deep sleep, and disrupt memory encoding. Instead, choose intentional sound. A white noise machine, a soft instrumental track, or the gentle hum of a fan. This steady auditory rhythm helps guide your nervous system into rest. Let's meet Mr. Daniel, 76, from Texas. He spent years waking up at 3 a.m., mind racing, heart pounding. Medications didn't help, until his granddaughter gifted him a white noise machine and a lavender-scented candle. It seemed silly at first, but within a week he was sleeping through the night. It was like something inside me finally believed it was safe to rest, he said. And what about smell? It might seem like an afterthought, but scent is processed in the brain's limbic system, the same place that handles memory and emotion. That's why a whiff of a loved one's perfume can bring back an entire childhood. Use this to your advantage. Try essential oils like lavender, sandalwood, or chamomile, a dab on your wrist. A diffuser. Even a cup of herbal tea can carry a scent that becomes part of your sleep signal. And here's something even more subtle: texture. Your brain responds to touch more deeply than you realize. A soft blanket, a warm bathrobe, a cool pillow. These sensations communicate comfort and security, two elements essential for deep rest. Take Janine, 71, from North Carolina. She was skeptical of all things woo-woo, but after struggling with post-retirement insomnia, she agreed to try a full nighttime sensory reset: lights off at 9, soft instrumental music, a warm wheat bag on her stomach, and a gratitude journal. At first it felt like I was pampering myself. She laughed. Now I realize I was just finally listening to what my nervous system had been asking for all along. This is what reclaiming sleep looks like: not forcing it, but inviting it. Now let's be honest, you won't get it perfect every night. Some evenings you'll forget the breathing, other nights you'll skip the broth. But consistency isn't about perfection, it's about rhythm. When your body begins to trust that a loving ritual awaits, it will soften. And when it softens, the mind follows. Here's your final ritual checklist: simple, doable, and powerful. Dim the lights. Move gently. Eat a warm, nourishing bite. Breathe for 5 minutes. Write 3 small gratitudes. Listen to calm, steady sound. Surround yourself with soft textures and soothing scents, and then just let go. Because that's what sleep really is: an act of letting go. Not just of the day, but of control, of worry, of what didn't happen. And when you do that with intention, your brain receives the message. It begins its quiet work. It cleans, it stores, it heals, and you, without even trying, begin to remember again, to focus, to feel. So as you lie down tonight, try whispering this phrase to yourself: I prepare my mind for clarity, and trust that your body, your breath, and your rituals will carry you the rest of the way.